Hi everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Rumana Ali. I hope you all are doing well. In today's class, let us talk about the properties of muscle cells. The first and the foremost property of our muscle cells is excitability. There are two main cells that are called as excitable cells, which are found in a human body, and these cells are neurons and muscle cells. So how the property of excitability is shown by the neuron and muscle cells? Let us see. When you see the neuron, the main function of the neuron is to generate signals, and that signals, when it reaches the brain commands the muscles to show its action. So the signals which are generated by these neurons, that generation of the signals is called as excitability, so that we can call these neurons as excitable cells. Whenever the neuron generates signal, at the time they release some chemicals, and that chemicals are called as neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters are transported to other neurons and other nerve cells, then it is carried then finally it is carried to the brain. So this is how the neurotransmitters, which are the chemicals that are released by these neurons, can help to generate the signals in the other nerve cells. In other neurons, it helps to generate the different signals, and that signals can be reaches to the brain. For example, if on your hand cockroach flies comes and sits on your hand, then you can feel, you can sense that fly is sitting on your hand. This is how the sense of feeling can be generated by the signals which are released by the signals of these nerve cells. So neurotransmitters are the chemicals which are released by these nerve cells due to the excitation of these nerve cells. How it gets excited? Whenever anything happens, whenever any sense of feeling is to be generated, at that time this neurons, they takes up the sodium ions which are present in the fluid. These sodium ions, when it enters into the nerve cells or the neurons, at that time they can generate the signal due to the depolarization. Taking up the sodium is called as depolarization. So due to the depolarization only, these neurons can generate nerve signals. This is how the neurons can show the property of excitability. What about muscle cells? How they show the property of excitability? So if you see the muscles, then they get contracted. For the contraction of muscle, they need sodium. So when sodium is taken up by the cells of the muscles, then this is called as depolarization, and due to the depolarization, this muscle can show the contraction. This muscle can get contracted. This is how the muscle cells also shows the property like excitability. Besides the excitability, there are so many other properties that are shown by the muscle cells. Let us see that properties. The next property is contractility. We know that muscle gets contracted. Due to the contraction only, they can show the different movements. For example, if this is a muscle, and for any of the activities, if it needs to get contracted, then it takes up the sodium ions that are present in the surrounding. That means depolarization would occur, and due to the depolarization, when the cell gets contracted, when it becomes smaller in size due to the contraction, this type of property is called as contractility. When it gets contracted, it gets smaller in size, and this property is known as contractility, which can be achieved by the process called depolarization. Only the sodium ions, intake of the sodium ions, can make the muscles contract. The other property is extensibility. This muscle, this is our muscle cell. If you pull this muscle cell, then it can extend. It can extend up to a certain limit. But if you leave that muscle cell, then it will come back to its original position like a rubber band. If you stretch a rubber band and if you leave that, then it again comes back to its original position. This is how the property of extensibility can be shown by our muscle cell. This is also one of its properties. Okay, the other property is extensibility. When you pull the muscle cell, it can be stretched. We can enlarge that muscle cell due to its property called extensibility. So, it can be extended if we pull the muscle cell. But it also shows the property called elasticity. That means after pulling the muscle cell, when it becomes larger in size and when you leave that muscle cell, it can comes back to its original position. So, how the rubber band, if you stretch a rubber band, and if you leave that rubber band, then it will come back to its original position. Likewise, it also shows the elasticity. It is also elastic in nature like that of rubber band. So, this is how the elastic property can also be shown by our muscle cells. Whenever we talk about the properties, then it includes excitability. That means the cell gets excited. It can generate signals or it may get contracted. The next one is contractility. When it gets contraction, after the depolarization only, it can show the contraction, and due to the contraction, the muscle cell gets smaller in size. Then it can extend. If we pull the muscle cell, it can extend, so it shows extensibility. But if we leave the muscle cell, it can come back to its original position. In this way, it is showing the property of elasticity. These are the different properties that you can see in our muscle cells. Okay, let us see how a skeletal muscle attached to the bone. Here we can take an example of a hand. The muscles that are present in our hand, we can see here. So, the bones are present, and these bones, the two bones are present in our hand, and these two bones are attached to each other with some fluid which is present in between them. And this fluid which is present in between the bones, we call this fluid as synovial fluid. Now, along with this fluid, some thread-like structures are also present that are binding these two bones with each other. These two bones can get attached to each other with the help of thread-like structures, and these threads that are holding the two bones together can be termed as ligaments. So, bones to bone, the attachment that you can find in between the two bones, that is due to the presence of a ligament. And this is a muscle. Let us take an example of a bicep muscle. So, this is our bicep. Here, you can find some rope-like structure at the ends of the biceps. And these rope-like structures are helping the muscle to get attached with the bone. So, in this way, you can find an attachment between the muscles and bones. So, the muscles can get attached to the bone due to the rope-like structures, and these ropes are called as tendons. These tendons are not at all flexible. Then how can we move our hand? How can we make the movements of our bicep? This is due to the contraction of biceps. Whenever the bicep muscle gets contracted, at that time, this type of movement you can see. Here you can bend your hand at the position of your elbow. So, when you bend your hand, at that time, this bicep muscle, it gets contracted, it gets smaller in size, and it pulls these tendons towards it. The tendons move towards the bicep due to its contraction, and this can make the movement of our hand. This is how the two main types of materials are present that enables the movement of our hand, that enables the bending of our hand at our elbow, and that two main muscle tissues are called as ligament and tendons. Ligament are the fibers that are present in between the two bones. So, for bone to bone attachment, ligament is necessary, it is essential, and for the attachment of muscles with that of the bones, tendons are important. Without tendons, there will be no attachment between the muscles and bones. So, muscles can get attached to the bones, with the help of tendons. So here we can use a short form to remember this point. MTB, muscle to bone, tendons are responsible. And here for ligament we can write BLB, bones to bones, ligament. For the attachment of bone to bone, ligament are the fibers that are present in between them. This is how the ligaments and tendons are playing crucial role in the attachment of bone to bone as well as in the attachment between the muscles and bones. Because of these attachment, the biceps can get contracted, and due to the contraction of the bicep muscle cells, the tendons pull towards the biceps, and this causes the bending of our hand. This causes the movement of our hand. Bicep is a muscle. It's a muscle tissue. So, here you can see the cylindrical arrangement of all the muscle cells. The muscle cells are present in the bicep, which are cylindrical in shape. We know that muscle cells are cylindrical in shape and it contains nucleus also, right? So, if we cut this bicep and if we look into the bicep, then what type of structure we can see? So, after the cutting of the bicep, the internal arrangement will be like this. You can find some bundles. Some bundles are present. This is our muscle, and here the bundles are present. This type of structure you can see. So, let us see the internal structure of a muscle. If this is our muscle, the muscle is made up of cells, right? So, these are the different muscle cells that are found. Muscle cell can also be termed as myofiber. Myofiber is nothing but the cells which are present in our muscle. Now, inside the myofiber, some bundles are present. If you open a cigar box, all the cigarettes are arranged cylindrically. Likewise, the bundles, likewise the different cells are present inside the muscle cell in the form of bundles. So, these are the different bundles that you can see in the myofiber. These bundles are called as fascicles. Okay. So, bundles of myofiber can be termed as fascicles. The bundles which are present in the myofiber, that can be called as fascicles. Now, there is a tissue which surrounds the muscle. So, here a tissue is present that surrounds the whole muscle. We call this as epimysium. Okay. One another tissue is present that surrounds our myofiber, muscle cells. This is how all the myofibers are surrounded by some connective tissue. And this type of surrounding which is present around the myofiber, we call this as perimysium. The connective tissue which is present around our muscle, that is called as epimysium. The connective tissue that surrounds the myofiber, that is called as perimysium. And one more covering can be seen which is present around the bundles of the myofiber. So, in total 3 coverings you can see. 3 connective tissues are present. One is epimysium, other one is perimysium, and the last one is endomysium. The tissues which surrounds the muscle, we call that as epimysium. The tissues which surrounds the muscle cell, we call that as perimysium, and the bundles which are present inside the myofiber, that are also surrounded by a tissue, and we call that layer as endomysium. This is how 3 layers can be found. Epimysium around the muscle, perimysium around the myofiber, and endomysium around the bundles of myofiber. I hope it's clear to you. Now, in between, when you see the internal structure of a muscle, then besides perimysium, the connective tissue which surrounds the muscle cells, besides that, one more connective tissue is present, that is in the whole muscle. It is not surrounding anything. It is present inside the muscle cell, and this connective tissue is called as fascia. The internal structure of a muscle is very simple. You just need to remember all the different terms that are given here. Firstly, when we cut the bicep, then internally we can see this kind of arrangement. Here, this one is our muscle. Then inside the muscle cells are present. Inside the muscle cells, some bundles are found. The surrounding of the muscle can be termed as epimysium. Surrounding of the muscle cells can be termed as perimysium, and surrounding of these bundles can be termed as endomysium, and these bundles are called as fascicles. Now, beside these three layers, epimysium, perimysium and endomysium, you can find the connective tissue inside the muscle. The connective tissue is present in the entire muscle, and we call that connective tissue as fascia. So, these are the different things that you can find in the internal structure of a muscle. Now, inside these bundles, there are so many cylindrical cells that are present. Again, the bundles you can find. Here one bundle is present. Inside that bundles, some small filaments are present, and we call that filaments as myofilament. Now you can see the structure of myofilament. What is there present inside the myofilament? Now we are going to take one of this myofiber. We'll take out one of this myofiber from this bundle, and we'll see what are the things that are found inside this myofiber. So this is a myofiber. If we take out and see the structure, then you can see the different parts that we are going to discuss now. So here the muscle is present. Inside the muscle, cells are found. In the cells, bundle-like arrangement you can see. In these bundles, if you take one of the myofiber out, then in that myofiber also you can see one more bundle. You can see the arrangement of one more bundle, and in this bundle, fiber-like structures are present. We call that structures as myofibrils. So firstly, we'll see the detailed structure of myofiber, then we'll look at the structure of myofibrils too. Okay, now look at the structure of myofiber. When we take one of the myofiber and when we see the structure of the myofiber, it will be like this. Here this round structure of myofiber will be there, and if we see inside it, then it also shows some bundles, and that bundles contain myofibrils, right? Myofibrils are present, and you can see the plasma membrane. The membrane is also present in the myofiber. All the cells contain plasma membrane. So this will also shows the presence of plasma membrane, and the plasma membrane of the myofiber can be termed as sarcolemma. So sarcolemma is nothing but the plasma membrane of myofiber. And in the myofiber, you can find the fluid also. How the cytoplasm is present inside the cell? Likewise, the fluid is present inside the myofiber, inside the muscle cell too. And we call this fluid as sarcoplasm. And when you see the plasma membrane of this myofiber, you can see some grooves. In the plasma membrane of myofiber, the grooves are present which are open from outside but closed from inside, and these groove-like structures are called as T-tubules. So T-tubules are present in the plasma membrane of a myofiber. Now in this sarcoplasm, the cell organelles will also be found, like the endoplasmic reticulum will also be present. So the endoplasmic reticulum that is present in the myofiber, we call this endoplasmic reticulum as sarcoplasmic reticulum. And in this fluid, in the sarcoplasm, you can also find the nucleus. Nucleus will also present in the myofiber. So nucleus is found, and at one region of this myofiber, a pigment is present. Red color pigment is present like this, and this pigment stores the oxygen. The oxygen can be stored by this pigment. We call this pigment as myoglobin. Along with the oxygen that is stored by the myoglobin, you can also see the presence of glycogen inside the myofiber. Glycogen will also get stored by this myofiber cells, by these muscle cells. So in case of emergency, when we do a lot of exercise, we need a lot of oxygen, and the blood cannot supply that much of oxygen. In that situation, our muscle cell can use the glycogen which is stored, and as well as they can also use the oxygen which is stored by the pigment called myoglobin. Now let us recap the structure of a myofiber. Myofiber is nothing but a muscle cell. In that muscle cell, a bundle is present that shows the presence of myofibrils. Okay, myofibrils are present in some fluid, and that fluid is called as sarcoplasma. In the sarcoplasma, you can find the presence of sarcoplasmic reticulum, nucleus, and a pigment called myoglobin. And the membrane which is present, the membrane of the myofiber, is called as sarcolemma. This membrane shows some grooves in its structure, and we call these grooves as T-tubules. This is about the structure of myofiber. Now let us look at the structure of myofibrils. If we take out one of the myofibril and look at the structure, then here some lines are present. We call these lines as Z line. In between the Z line, the portion which is present in between these Z lines, that portion is called as sarcomere. So we look at the structure of this myofibrils in detail now. Let us talk about the structure of myofibrils now. This is our myofiber. Inside the myofiber, some bundles are present which are made up of myofibrils. When you take out one myofibril and look at its structure, then it will be like this. It shows two types of bands, thick bands and thin bands. Two types of filaments we can say. So they show two types of filaments like thick filament and thin filaments. Here in the middle, Z line is present, right? These are our thin filaments, and this is how the thick filaments are present. Thin filaments are present at the Z line, but thick filaments are present in between them. In between two thin filaments, thick filament can be seen, and these thick filaments can also get merged with some part of the thin filament. Now these thin filaments are present and thick filaments are present. Now let us see the zones or the bands which are present. So here, this region where you can see the presence of only thick bands, this part, only thick bands are present or thick filaments. So the region where you can see the presence of only thick part, thick filaments, that region is called as H zone. Okay, but the portion which shows you the presence of both, when they are interlinking with each other, thick bands and thin bands, then H zone plus the region where you can see both thick and thin bands, thick and thin filaments, that region is called as, the whole region, you can call it as the A band. A stands for anisotropic. So anisotropic band means the region of the thick filament plus the region where you can see both thick and thin filament. Thick filament shows the presence of a protein called myosin, and in thin filaments you can see the presence of actin. So this is how the actin and myosin are the proteins that are found in thick and thin filaments. Now we have seen the region called A band, which shows the presence of thick bands, thick filaments, plus the region where you can see both thick and thin filament. Now the region where you can see only the presence of thin filament, this is the region, this one. The region or the band where you can see the presence of only thin filaments, this region is called as I band. I stands for isotropic band. So two bands you can find, A band, anisotropic bands, and I band, that is isotropic band. Isotropic band shows the presence of only thin filament, and anisotropic band shows the presence of H zone, that means thick filaments, as well as the regions where you can see both thick and thin filament. This is how the different bands and the zones you can find in the structure of myofibrils. In the myofibrils, the main important part is our sarcomere, that is present in between two Z lines. This is called as sarcomere. So in the sarcomere, you can see the presence of half I band, this part half I band, plus one A band, the whole A band will be present in the sarcomere, plus again half I band. So sarcomere means half I band, one A band plus half I band of the myofibril can be termed as our sarcomere. So this is about the structure of myofibrils. Okay, let us recall the structure of myofibrils. When you look at the structure of myofibrils, two main structures you can see, two main parts. One is Z line and the other one is sarcomere. In between these two Z lines, you can see the different regions. You can see the presence of different bands. So here the thin filaments are present at the center of the Z line, and in the central part of the myofibril, you can see the presence of thick filaments. The area where you can see the thick filament, that area is called as H zone. And the area where you can see the thick filament plus the area where you can see the presence of both thick and thin filament, that is called as A band. That means H plus zone plus the area where you can see both the bands, that forms A band. And the area where you can see only the thin bands, that is called as I band. Sarcomere is half I band, one complete A band, and half I band can form the sarcomere of myofibrils. I hope it's clear to you. So when you see the structure of muscle cells, it shows some striations, right? This is how the striations are present. These are nothing but the bands which are present in our myofibrils. So this is about the structure of myofibrils which are present in the myofiber, and myofiber are our muscle cells. So this is how all the different things are arranged, all the different substances are present in our muscle cells that helps in the contraction and relaxation of the muscle cells, and due to the contraction and relaxation of our muscle cells, we can make the different movements. So that's all for today. Meet you in next class. Thank you.